All right. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to She Shakespeare. I am your host, CeleXy, and I'm really excited to be able to do a live today. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to do so, and so here we are at 11:30 here in the overcast, cloudy city of Indianapolis, Indiana. We're going to go ahead and share some things with you today. So, again, I want to say welcome. Thank you for joining me. I know many of you will see this after the live recording, and so I will keep that in mind even as I am speaking to you. Today's topic is Revelations, the book of Revelation. I think in the Bible, there's no S on the end. It's just the book of Revelation. But what I'm talking about today is revelations, for there are many revelations. And so it is not my intention to preach to you today, nor is it my intention to necessarily teach. However, indirectly, you may learn something from what I share today. These revelations are coming from my perspectives, and there's a couple of housekeeping things that I want to do with regard to the words perspective and perception. I know if you've been following the She Shakespeare series since I launched it earlier this summer, you've noticed that I've pretty consistently used the word perspective. From my perspective, keep in mind this is my perspective. Perspective is my point of view. It is the lens through which I see a situation, circumstance, experience, feeling, emotion. It doesn't matter. It's my filter. It's my filter. It's the lens through which I see. Your eye serves as a filter, believe it or not. It filters the light, interprets the light, and that leads me to perception. Okay? So the lens, if you think of your eye, the lens on your eye, or even if you wear glasses, your lens is the filter through which you see. That is your point of view. Okay? Um, Your perception then is what occurs after the information has been filtered through the lens or the perspective, the point of view. Interpretation then becomes, or perception becomes an interpretation or understanding of a given situation, or it can be something that you have applied meaning to. Okay, so perspective and perception work hand in hand. I just want to ensure that you clearly understand what I mean when I say this is my perspective, and I don't want you to confuse it with my perception. What I'm sharing with you is my perception, but it's also from my point of view. So, what happens when you're listening to anything that I'm sharing or anything that anyone is sharing, no matter what modality, the lens or the point of view that you receive that information will determine your perception or your understanding and how you interpret that information and what meaning and value you give to it. Ooh, CeleXy, what are you revealing to us today? You see, collectively, we have all agreed on a system of organization or an organization of systems, processes. We've collectively, as a human species, agreed upon a lot of things, even though we all have different points of view and therefore different perceptions. So, different perspectives lead to different perceptions. The wonderful thing about the connectivity that we have in this universe and everything being connected is that there is overlap. And if you think of each individual as a circle, If you thought of each individual as a circle, two eyes, if you thought of each individual as a circle, and I'm just going to focus on two for the simplification of this example, because of the connectivity that exists within the multiverse, right? There is some overlap. There is some overlap. And I hope you're watching this. If you're just listening, can you just take a quick moment, or when you have a chance, come back to this section in the video so you can see the demonstration. So I'm going to back up right now. If each of these circles that I'm creating with my hands represents two different individuals, each of these individuals have a different point of view, and therefore, let me get back to my original word, a different perspective, which is point of view, and therefore will have a different perception, which is an interpretation or understanding of any given situation, right? But because of the connectivity we have in this multiverse, there is some overlap that exists amongst all of us. This is what binds us together. Think of Charlotte's Web or the World Wide Web. Think of the interconnectivity that exists. So because there is some overlap, we are given then the ability to agree to disagree on some things for the collective good of the whole. Does that make sense? But look what forms in the middle when this happens. What was once two separate entities have joined together and created one entity. Now, in Eastern philosophies, that third circle or sphere that you see in the middle would represent what they refer to as the third eye, the all-seeing eye, 360 degrees of perspective and perception. Now, this only represents a fraction of that 360 degrees because this is only an example of two people, two humans linking together to form that third eye. Do you follow me? This is about revelations, you all. This is about revelations. These are things, this is information that I either received as a new download, as original thought this morning, or a memory, a room of a vault of memory has been unlocked, and I've been given access to it. And so I got that revelation today, or the veil over that information, or the veil over the meaning. So I had a point of view about this information before, but it was veiled. It was concealed. I had no meaning. I had no understanding. I had no interpretation until today. So the veil was lifted, or the scales were removed from my eyes, from my eye. The scales were removed from my eye, that third eye, that all-seeing eye that broadens your perception. That broadens your perception. So what happens is when you get to a point where you see the good and bad, or both extremes of a situation, and then can therefore allow yourself to zero in on the focal point of that situation, on the center of that situation, and then begin to develop your meaning from the center of that situation, not from the extremes, because see, the extremes are temporary. The extremes of either end is temporary. We're always going to land in any given situation, naturally speaking, going with the laws of nature. So the laws of the universe, naturally speaking, just through the electromagnetic force within the universe, there is a law of harmony, a law of peace, a law of unification, a law of oneness. So because of that, there is a strong magnetic energy in the center of everything. There's a strong electromagnetic energy in the center of everything that no matter what happens on one extreme or the other, it is always going to be drawn back to the center. I hope I'm making sense. But when you even think about that drawing back to the center, and I said two extremes of the same situation. Two people could go through the exact situation and have a completely different point of view because one is at this end of the situation and one is at the other end of the situation. So their point of view is different. Therefore, as they go through the situation or overcome the situation and get to the center of it, that is where the 2 points of view meet. And that is where the interpretations begin to overlap. I know this might just be way too high level for some of you, but I'm thinking that even as I'm talking and using my visual my visual aids to help you grasp an understanding of what I'm talking about here, because this is going to set the foundation for the rest of what I'm going to share. And it may be more than what I can share today, but this information here is going to set the foundation. Point of view or perspective is your point of view. Through what filter are you looking at this situation? And then your perception is how you interpret or understand the situation or what meaning you give to the situation. And that's your ability to get to the center of it all, where you're pulling from the good and the bad, from the negative and the positive, and you're focusing in on the center of it all so that you have an expanded perception, because that perception is then going to update your point of view. Thank you, wisdom, wise dome, not because of what you see, but because of what I'm connected to. Because of what I'm connected to, the invisible. Ooh. Anyway, that's what I'm giving glory to. Ooh. Fulfillment, revelations. With fulfillment comes revelation. That's what I woke up this morning feeling. I felt the sensation of fulfillment, that all my needs, wants, desires, craves, curiosities, they're all met already in the invisible realm. They just haven't showed up in my point of view. They haven't showed up for me to physically see them. But it's okay because I can feel them because of that interconnectivity we have. I know that things are being worked out for my good, for I know that all things work out for the good of them who love God and who are called according to their purpose. Well, the revelation I had today is that everything you do, every decision you make, and every consequence or outcome you get to celebrate or grow from is designed by you, of you, and for you. Ooh, that's something better than FUBU, y'all. Well, actually, it's not even so much about being better than FUBU, because FUBU is what? For us, by us. I'm just drilling down to the individual, because what do we say? What's that little cliche phrase that we're always saying? Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Another revelation that I had this morning was that in my being the change that I want to see in the world, in my beholding the expression of the change that I desire to see in the world. I need not focus on the world. I only have to focus on me. Being the me that I came here to be. Having the experiences that I designed for me. So I'm drilling it down to the individual level so that you can truly be the change you want to see in the world, acknowledging that everything in the universe is created for us, by of us, and by us. Therefore, that which we do on the collective or the grand scale or the macrocosm, we also do on the microcosm, the individual scale within us. What does that lead me to? I discovered that I am the way, the truth, and the light or life, depending on whose interpretation, depending on the meaning that someone else ascribed to that situation, scripture, story, parable, allegory, metaphor. Well, I am telling you that based on my point of view and my perceptions that have been shaped by my experiences, which have further enhanced my point of view, through the multitude of experiences that I've gone through, interacting with aspects of me and other individuals. There's that interconnectivity again. Every relationship that I cultivated or lacked to cultivate, every relationship that I got away with by the skin of my teeth, I avoided. All those experiences, all throughout your lifetime, throughout my lifetime, have helped to cultivate my point of view, helped to actually design my filter. Sometimes, we come into the world and I think the filter is clear at first when we're young. And this is just me sharing a pearl of wisdom. Pow! I think there is no filter when we're young, and we just think that we can do everything, or we're curious enough to try everything. We're risk takers. We're brave. We have no fear. And then as we become adults and grow up and have experiences, we begin to develop fear. We begin to that programming, when you got that first F or that first punishment, or felt the first pain or fire, heat from the stove, whatever. Fear was something that was programmed into us, and fear is something that can be programmed out of us. Because ultimately, every show that I'm talking about, the show is called She Shakes Fear. I'm not saying that fear doesn't exist. I'm not saying that fear doesn't have purpose, because it does. What I'm saying is also that everything that you are going through is not by happenstance, and you don't have to beat yourself up about it. We take this life far too seriously. We're here to have experiences and experience the whole range of emotion through experiences, the whole range of emotion, from the lowest anger to the highest joy. Hallelujah, joy. To the most high, to the guttermost. From the mountaintop to the lowest valley. We're here to have those ranges of experiences, you all, to expand our consciousness is what's popular these days, right? It's to transform the mind, to grow, to evolve, to elevate. Well, all of these experiences on the entire spectrum. Think of every color of the rainbow as a different experience, a similar experience at a different level in your life. It's further fortifying that foundation. Experience it upon experience. Sometimes you don't even realize that, dang, wait a minute, Sometimes you don't realize that you're on the same maze or the same game until you've traveled a distance. And then all of a sudden, you're like, this is deja vu. I've done this before. Why then am I doing it again? Is it me, or is this thing dropping further down? Attempting, oh, my third eye must be on a blaze. Looks like this piece of jewelry is gravity is pulling. Mm, mm. See, from my point of view, from the filter that I have, that's the way I look at stuff. That's the way I look at stuff. I could say, yeah, on the one hand, oh, Celeste, is just gravity. Your skin could be oily and it's just dropping down or whatever. It's too big. Yeah. But on the other extreme, because you sharing wisdom, you dropping pow, 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 pearls of wisdom. You're tapping into the energy of third eye crown chakra, and then you're using that throat chakra to speak forth your truth. I am the way, the truth, and the light and life. This is a life that I am living. This is the filter that I am using. And as I live this life through this filter, living through this point of view, every experience that I have, that I glean understanding or interpretation or assign meaning to, is helping to further expand my point of view, my perspective. So my perceptions are shaping my perspective. And my perspective enables perception to have something to process. Talk about the alchemist within. You don't even realize this stuff is happening. It's happening automatically, whether you realize it or not. But when you become consciously aware, when you become self-aware, when you become in tune with yourself, all of a sudden you're in the shower and relationships are necessary. But how we define those relationships may be altered based upon your perspective and your perceptions. So what am I saying? As a result of all my experiences in relationships, this year, because of the transformational process that I'm in, this is about revelations, y'all. Because of the transformational process that I'm in, this year, I decided to question the people that I considered friends. I wanted to know from their perspective, from their point of view, did they consider me a friend, or had I been a friend to them? Now, mind you, when I think of friend, or a relationship, I think of two or more individuals engaged in an experience or relating to one another on a common foundation or something that they have in common, and maybe multiple things that they have in common. And because of those commonalities, because of those interconnectivities, because of those dimensions that they share, they want to build upon that. They want to build a kingdom together. And so that means that everybody is bringing something to the table, right? If I bring a hammer, do you have the nails? If I bring the tools, do you have a belt or a container in which to hold the tools? You feel me? It should be a reciprocal relationship. It should not be, and when I say it should not be, remember, again, this is from my point of view or from my perspective. There is no fellowship if you don't have anything to, if you don't even have a point of view. How can we relate? See, each of us have to open up. Let me do this again. Each of us have to open up a little bit. I actually like that. I like that one better. Did you see how I did that? Before I just overlap my hands. But to really, really get into that thing, the intertwining, that reminds me of the threefold cord that I speak about. It's an interlacing, woven, an interlocking. See, locking. When you bring something to the table and the other person is bringing something to the table, and you're willing to share, you're willing to interconnect. Not only are you overlapping perspectives, or not only are you coming together and allowing those areas that are similar to come together, you are linking together, creating that threefold bond. See, there's a third link in there now. And it doesn't take away from the individual of who you are. But if you find yourself in relationships where there's no reciprocation, like what is the other person bringing to the table? What are you bartering? What is the goal of the relationship? What is the expected outcome? How many of us sit down and think about that? Or do, as women, do we automatically see a man, a good looking man, or a man that we feel fits our criteria, and do we automatically go straight to husband? Oh, he could be my next husband. In my case, oh, he could be my next husband. What if that is just somebody that you can build with? Doesn't necessarily have to mean build. There are no more children, physical children, living, breathing children coming out of this body. So when I think of building with someone, what other could it be? Some sort of system, some sort of organization, some sort of physical structure that will be for the benefit of more than just the individuals involved, but for the world on some level, right? Even if it's on a microcosmic level right here in the city of Indianapolis. But nonetheless, what was revealed to me today is that the reason we are able to live, move, and have our being is not even just because of the air we breathe, not just because of oxygen, not just because of a divine source, a intelligent God or not. No, it's all the things working together. All the things working. Remove one thing and there's an imbalance. And I'm talking about from the natural law, from the natural state of everything, which is the microcosmic of it all, the foundation, the beginning. It's the nature of it all. All things, for we know that all things work together for the good of them. I'm telling y'all something. This is a revelation. I'm telling you something today. I'm sharing something with you today. I trust that your filter is clean and clear and clarity abound so that you can receive this pearl of wisdom that I'm dropping on you today. For we know that all things work together for the good of them who love God and are called according to his purpose. His being your individual purpose has nothing to do with gender. Your individual purpose. Your individual purpose. And I just hinted to that, what that is for all of us. I am the way, the truth, and the life. My truth is based on my perspective and my perception. No one else's but mine. Now, I glean from other people's perspectives, but because I am my own individual and my filter is unlike anyone else's, even my perception of someone else's perspective is not going to be the same as the person's, or it's not going to be the same as the person who shared the information. I don't expect anyone to listen to what I'm sharing and then turn around and regurgitate it as though it's their truth. And virtually it's impossible unless all you're doing is you have rote memory. And I know the school system has pretty much programmed us for rote memory. See something, memorize it, and then you can go back and duplicate it or whatever. That's what on-the-job training is. But that doesn't get you to the next level. It's one thing to mimic what someone else is doing. It's a whole nother thing to understand why someone does what they do. And even then, it's going to be from your point of view, on your perspective that has been cultivated by your perceptions. We were never intended to be like everyone else. So even though we have this wonderful connectivity, even though we're vibrating, or we can vibrate on the same level, even though we can come together and think the same things and build temples, even though we can do that, this journey is still about your own individual journey. You are here to discover your own truth, your own way, your own life, and be your own guiding light. What I'm sharing with you, and if you're listening, if you're allowing this information to penetrate your perspective, to penetrate you as a human being, as a person, as a spiritual being, if you're allowing this information to be received as a signal through you, right now your filter is actually editing out that which you are not ready for. Your filter is doing that for you. Your lens, that which you see the world through, your point of view, your perspective. There's a built-in editor that is instantaneously editing out what you are not ready to receive. So guess what, boo? That's a protection for you. So your way is not going to be the way of someone else. Jesus is not your way, truth, and your life. No one else is. You are your way, truth, and your life. I am my way, truth, and my life. No one else has these two physical eyes that I have that create that optic chiasma in the back. It's an interconnecting. It's the third eye view. We all have it within us. I don't know why this keeps dropping down. Pretty soon it's going to be hanging over my eye, and I'm going to look like I have the eye of Horus and Ra on my face. But anyway, what I'm revealing to you today, and welcome to everybody that has joined me. I wish you would interact with me. Let me know who you are, what you think about what I'm saying. Are you resonating with me? Have you ever had these thoughts yourself? I'm gonna just keep messing with this. I shouldn't have put it on today. This one is new, and it's a little bit more lightweight than the other ones. And but anyway, this is gonna bother me. Okay, let me just get it straight. Let me just get it straight. Okay, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. Okay. So anyway, the revelation I had while I was in the shower is that because we live in the material world, in the physical world, and we're human beings, and there's this interconnectivity among us, we must relate to each other. However, as the author and finisher of our story, and as the way, the truth, and the person living the life, we get to choose. We get to pick and choose who we interconnect with, who we overlap with, who we build with. And again, like I say, when you start choosing who you're going to build with, I lost somebody. Wow, that's sad. When you discover who you're going to build with, or when you think you've met someone that you want to build with, you need to be doing an assessment or an evaluation of that individual to discover what are they bringing to the table, because you want to be as equally yoked as possible. If you're going to build a temple together, you don't want to be the one bringing the bulk of the equipment to the site, or the bulk of the knowledge, the skill, the money. It should be shared equally, or in proportion to what you have to give. You feel me? You see what I'm saying? A hammer is more expensive than nails, but how many hammers do you need compared to how many nails do you need? There still may be some equality in cost there, couldn't it? You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things that we need to keep in mind when we're choosing relationships with people. What does that individual bring into the relationship? What of value can this person add to my life? Do we do that when choosing relationships? I'm not talking about just a partner or a mate or a sexual partner. I'm talking about everybody. Friends, what does your girlfriend bring into the relationship? What of value does she have to build upon this relationship? That's why so many relationships are sitting stagnant. That's why they can just survive on text messages alone, phone conversations alone, never actually laying eyes on each other, never actually physically touching one another, and never building anything together. What then is the purpose of the relationship? Even for sex, there has to be a mutual requirement for that. Two individuals agree that the only reason we are coming together is to satisfy our physical urges. And the two individuals must agree upon that. One individual can't have that as their intention while the other individual is unaware. Now, I surmise that there are always signs and symptoms in the absence of verbal communication. You should be able to pick up on the signs and symptoms of another individual as to whether or not they want to build anything with you. They will demonstrate it in their behavior. As they move, live, and have their being, they will show you their way, their truth, and the life they're living, and you will be able to discern the degree of luminosity from their light. If their light doesn't shine bright, if their light is dim, then there's some imbalance, there's some decrease, there's some deficiencies there, and you may not want to stimulate them. You may not want to share your stimulus with that individual. If their light is already dim, then is it possible that linking up with them could cause your light to also dim? Ooh, that brings me to looping back to that whole deja vu thing. When you feel like you're having a similar experience, if it gives you good vibrations, wonderful. Celebrate it. Yes, I know what this feels like, and this is a good thing. Yes, yay, celebrate. But if that deja vu feeling kind of rubs you the wrong way, it's kind of a what we call a negative vibration. It's a warning sign that you're about to go back on the merry-go-round. Here we go round in circles. Do you want to stay on that loop of repetition? Doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome? Falling into the same types of, walking into the same types of relationships, expecting a different outcome? Dealing with the same kind of individuals, expecting a different outcome? When the wolf shows you he only wears sheep's clothing, that he's not the animal he's pretending to be, trust him, trust her, trust them, trust that company, trust that organization, trust that club. When people show you their truth, trust them. Be your own way, your own truth, your own light in your own life. You design that from your perspective, from your point of view. Further expanded and elevated by your perceptions. And the one thing I really want you to walk away from this live, you are not a mistake. There is nothing wrong with you. There is everything in the world right with you. You are wonderfully and beautifully, marvelously, fantastically, unapologetically, unmistakably created with purpose. And that is just to shine as bright as you possibly can, given what you've been equipped with, to discover and rediscover all that the physical world has to offer, as well as what you have to share with the world. You do not have to ascribe to anybody else's teaching, religion, philosophy, book, tradition, other paths, other blueprints, other ways. You can use them as a tool, but you are in no way required to repeat or duplicate what someone has already done. Why would you? We've been told for millennia that there is nothing new under the sun. Bullshit! Bullshit! I have even said it, for there is nothing new under the sun. What's already happened, or what's happening now, has already been done. I call bullshit. Foul, false flag. You are in a position to create something that has never been done every single time you choose to do something. Because guess what? Every single thing you do makes me smile. And if I had my way, baby, I'd tie you up a while. Because every single thing that you do is the first time, brand new under this sun. When have you existed before in this body, having these experiences? Do you know it to be ever? Then if you have no knowledge of it being ever, then this is the first time that you have done anything that you've done. So bullshit. There is nothing new under the sun. Everything that's going on has already been done. Bullshit. Write your story. Write your story. Share your story with the world. You are a unique being. You stand alone. There is no competition. There is no comparison. How do you compare like with like, same with same? Sure, there is an outer shell, an outer covering, an outer skin, an outer vessel, an external body that looks different from everybody else. But on the inside, we're exactly the same. However, the goal of being here in this physical body is to have different experiences. If you look different, smell different, talk different, act different, live different, makes you different from the people who live across the globe. Your experience is not going to be theirs, and it was never intended to be so. This is a period in time where we get the opportunity to be our own individual selves, no matter what that looks like. As long as what you're doing has no intention of harming other aspects of you, because that's what other individuals are. Other aspects of you. When we're interacting with one another, we're interacting with other aspects of ourselves. That interlocking, you can't have no interaction if there's not that interconnecting, that unifying bond, that unifying principle. I must allow you to enter into my courts with thanksgiving. I give you permission to enter into my courts with praise. As you also give me permission, you're giving me permission as you are listening to me sharing my perspectives on this thing we call life. The ultimate goal of what I'm sharing is to help you move beyond fear. Fear is the opposite extreme of love. as you move toward love and developing that relationship with yourself, that is your twin flame. It's in you. That aspect of you that you've turned your back on, that aspect of you that you refuse to acknowledge, that aspect of you that is the truest self, the truest you, that inner child, that that fantasy self, that part of you that has no limitations, that part of you that is not bound by anything known to man. But fear keeps that aspect of you locked deep within. What I'm telling you is that if you're looking for your soulmate, if you're looking for your soulmate, if you're looking for your soulmate, go within. If you're looking for your twin flame, go within. It's you. I'm talking about revelations today and how to shake fear. If the relationship, this don't see the thing about what I'm sharing with you, the thing about what I'm revealing to you today is that it doesn't even matter if you're married, in a relationship, been married for umpteen thousand. It don't even matter if you're already in a relationship. Because I can guarantee you that even within your relationship, there's a void. Something is missing. This is the principle that causes, or this is the concept that caused people to cheat on each other, to betray one another. It's not intentional. But see, we're seeking in an external person, in another being, we're seeking in another being what we can only get from within. This goes back to that prodigal story, right? Where the prodigal son goes out in the world looking for something that he doesn't think he has at home. So when we seek out relationships for companionship and intimacy, the lie that we're telling ourselves, because see, we don't realize the real lies that we've been seeing with these so-called real eyes. That which you have been seeking outside of you has been waiting for you on the inside. Your twin flame, your soulmate. Come on, soulmate. How could your soulmate be outside of you? Yes, I said that other people are other aspects of you. I didn't say that they were your soulmate. They're other aspects of you, a reflection of aspects of you. You're a diamond in the rough, girl, but I'm here to make you better. So every time you have a relationship with another aspect of you, if the relationship vibrates on, if it has positive, well, really, it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative. It's either going to dull that surface, that facet of your diamond. It's either going to, that relationship is either going to dull it or foggy up the clearness of it, fog it up, or it's going to make it shine brighter. One of the two. But you get to choose. You get to choose. You get to choose. But I can tell you a surefire way. I can't prove it, but I'm practicing it. If you recognize that the ultimate relationship that you could ever have with anyone is the one that you have with yourself. When you begin to cultivate that relationship that you have with yourself, build, because what are you bringing to the table in that? Because see, self has been waiting. For me, self has been waiting for 54 years for me to come and commune. To come into the upper room and have that communion. Self has been waiting for me for almost 54 years. And I'm like, what does that look like? Well, I'm going to take a page from what we do externally. Someone said to me, let's date. And I'm like, what the hell is dating? I've written about it, never experienced it. I've written about it, never experienced it. Well, guess what? I'm gonna try it on me. I'm gonna date myself. I'm gonna take me out for events, for a meal. Now, I'm not talking about stopping at the restaurant and picking up something to eat. No, I'm talking about sitting down at the table by me, myself, and I, and enjoying my own company outside of the home. Because, see, I can do that real easy at home, but doing it outside of the home is the real challenge, right? Concerned about someone, what someone might think of you, concerned that someone might feel sorry for you. Well, who cares? That's their perspective. As long as you know what's going on, I'm going to start dating me. Those other pleasures that come with being in a relationship, explore them with yourself. Get to know yourself on every level. Starting from the bottom, then you'll be here. Start from the bottom. Focus on, that root chakra, safety and security. What are you doing to ensure that this body that you inhabit has a safe place to lay her head? These are the questions I'm asking myself. What am I doing to ensure that this body where my soul resides, my twin flame, my soulmate, has a place, a safe place to lay her head? And then what am I doing to procreate? How am I taking the gifts that I have and multiplying them to ensure that I always have a safe place to lay my head? That's the sacral chakra, the creativity, sexual energy. How am I cultivating those dynamics, those characteristics to ensure that I always have a safe place to lay my head? And then as I move up into the solar plexus, some say the seat of the soul, where my soulmate, my twin flame resides right there with, this beautiful jade jewel sitting above the head. Solar plexus is gold, represented like the sun. What am I doing to magnify the experiences that I'm having on the external or within the external realm so that my soul is penetrated? My twin flame, my soulmate. What I do externally is how I interact with that which is within. How I relate to that which within is what I take in from these six senses, you see. Having a relationship with yourself. And then you move on up to that heart chakra represented by the color green. I like that in the Wizard of Oz or the Wiz. The color is green, right? I think it was the Wiz, not the Wizard of Oz. Remember when I'd rather be seen in red, or I wouldn't be caught dead in red when red wasn't the color anymore. They were going through the chakra, the energy cycles within our bodies. Green represents the heart, love. Did you know that it's actually green and pink that represent love? And we've allowed ourselves collectively to agree that it's red for marketing purposes. Green is the color of money. Isn't that crazy? We've like shifted, you know. Green is the color of money and represents love, but does the way we spend our money represent love? It's bad. It's like money should be red. Money is what represents safety and security, right? Money should be red or non-existent because we just take care of each other based on the gifts, talents, and abilities that we have. There's no need for anybody to try to get rich because we live in abundant green, soil and green. I'm looking at green out my window right now. All I see is beautiful green. Overwhelms the houses. The trees are taller than the houses. They have more presence than the houses. They're more beautiful than the houses. Don't get me wrong, the houses are beautiful because it is us that have created and made them. Yes, we designed them. But it is the green that represents love, nature. Then we rise up to the throat chakra. It's a light blue. This is how we communicate our experiences. And then the third eye chakra, which is an indigo blue, that's that interlinking. That's when we're expanding our perspective as we develop these high level, emotionally intelligent relationships with other individuals. That's how we further evolve and develop that third eye point of view. And then we get up to the crown chakra. That's an amethyst. It's a really like a conglomerate, a synthesis of all the other energies. When they're all open and blossoming, that amethyst captures all of that, all of the hue, all of the energy of it. I'm talking in terms of energies and chakras because I want you to actually look this stuff up. I'm not going to be sharing a lot of places, directing you to look up stuff or anything, because that's something that you should be curious enough to do on your own. What the hell is she talking about? I ain't never heard that word. I don't understand. What I'm trusting that you will do as a result of listening to my videos. I mean, because the only interest you should have in listening to anything that I'm putting out or sharing is because you're curious. And so being curious is what should lead you to look up anything that I'm saying that you don't understand. That is how you build your perceptions, boo. I'm not here to give you all the answers. I couldn't even if I wanted to. You are here for your own rediscovery. I'm just helping you with some tools that I've used. These just came to me today. This is why this episode is called Revelations. I'm helping you to discover that you were uniquely created to be exactly who you've been. Nothing you have done up to this point is wrong, and nothing that you do moving forward is wrong. Everything you do is for you. It's to shape and mold you into the person that you have decided you wanted to become. I'm just showing you that there's another way to go about it that eases the suffering, that eases the pain, that eases the burdens. I don't mean they go away, but it enables you to endure with your head held high and without being triggered or stimulated by it. Develop a relationship with yourself. Get to know you. You are the you. You are the love you've been waiting for. It's always been inside of you. Start dating yourself. I'm taking myself to the museum this week, the art museum. I haven't been since they switched over to new fields. I haven't been since they switched over to new fields. Therefore, the experience is going to be new to me. So I'm excited. I'm excited to learn about dating myself. I'm going to date myself a little bit more than a couple times a week, though. And it's going to be, it won't just be based on sex. I know I'm talking to somebody. The relationship that I'll build with myself, because I'm building a queendom within myself that will manifest outside of myself. The relationship that I'm cultivating with myself is for myself. But in loving myself and in learning to love who I am, that aspect of me that I can't see, and learning to do that, that is the best way I can ever share myself with the world. That is the only way I can give you the best aspect of me, is to give you the whole of me, the authentic, transparent, yet compassionate aspect of me. Some of you may call me crazy, cuckoo, out of my mind, or be like my mother said, that COVID affected her brain. Call it what you will. Call it what you will. But I make no excuses for who I am, for what I share, or for what I do. I am here to express myself in whatever way appears appropriate for that day. I am always at the right place at the right time, doing the right things for the right reasons. There is no wrong in my life. I am here to explore all the possibilities if I can. If I can. given the time and the energy, the desire and the requirement to fulfill my life or to add more fulfillment to my, yes, I will do it. I will explore. I'm a pioneer. I'm looking for new things. I'm looking for new art pieces. I'm looking for new designs. I'm looking for something I've never seen before to create a design that the world hasn't seen before. See, I'm drawing off of everybody else's experiences. So guess what? If everybody else is also dating or learning to love themselves, becoming the greatest and best aspects of who they are, shining their light so bright. If I happen to stop by your place on the, I'm thinking about Monopoly. If I happen to stop on Park Place, I'm going to give you something of value, even as you exchange something of value with me. When I land on Park Place, I am willing to share my good with you because you are also willing to share your good with me. If it wasn't, you wouldn't even buy Park Place. Clearly, you want people to stop by. Clearly, you want to relate. See, we got Monopoly all confused in our head. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. I even got a game called Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki. It's about getting out of the rat race. But it's really all about the money if you so choose to see it from that perspective. Because in my mind, it's not all about the money unless you recognize the color of money is symbolized by green. I just told you that based on Eastern philosophy, and I find value in it, not because it's true, but because it resonates with me. Because when I walk out into nature, all I see is green, abundance. That's love. That's the love I need. Without this green, these trees, these plants, this grass, what did I tell you at the beginning? For we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to this purpose. Without that green, I cease to exist. We all do. That's the money. That's the real money. You can get the money. That's the real money. So cash flow and monopoly is not about who can make the most money as much as it is about who can spread the most love. Who can create the most love within themselves and then be able to share it with the world. That's how we cultivate love. The lab is within. You cultivate love within, and then nothing radiates out but love. You can't help but to be kind with people. At the center of you is love. Your dominant center is love. What radiates out from you is love. The light that shines forth from you is love. And the color is green. It rhymes with nature. It's synonymous with nature. It's symbolic of nature. It's love. Throw a little pink in there. Flesh. Flesh from the inside out. Flesh from the inside out. Green. Love, nature. You follow me? Revelations. Some things were revealed to me today, and I just thought I'd come forth and share them with you. I'm going to enjoy this journey. I'm going to stay high vibrating being that I am, and I'm going to always be completely, authentically, and transparently true to who I am. Love me, hate me. One day you'll find your way to the center, even as you find your way to the center of you. And when you get there you'll find me waiting with open arms. She's been your girl CeleXy with She Shakespeare, and those have been the revelations for today. I love you. Stay whole, stay woke, resonate those high vibrations, and I'll see you the next time.